الآن يمكنكم المشاركة في مبادرة الأيام الرقمية تحت شعار انطلق بقوة مع جوجل، والتي يتناول فيها خبراء جوجل عناوين جديدة أسبوعيا مثل السحابيات، مهارات من جوجل، أندرويد، فلتر، ذكاء الآلة، فايربيس، ديزاين ثينكينج، مقسمة إلى دورات وورشات عمل يومية بالإضافة إلى مسابقات أسبوعية. شاهد الأيام الرقمية مباشرة على اليوتيوب وشارك رأيك وأسئلتك مع خبراء جوجل، واحصل على شهادة حضور في كل محاضرة تشترك فيها. هذا وأكثر من الأحد إلى الخميس ابتداء من الساعة 9 بتوقيت دبي عبر الرابط المبين youtube.com/gdgmena.
Hello and welcome everyone. I am Imen Masmoudi and today we'll be talking about organizational leadership. So I am a GDSC lead at ENIT. If you don't know, ENIT is École Nationale d'Ingénieurs de Tunis. So I'm from Tunisia and welcome. I'd like to kick this presentation with asking you a question. So have you ever received an email that changed your life? Just, you can write in the chat if yes. Oh, I know there is a delay between the chat and the live, so I'll be waiting a little. So, have anyone ever received an email that changed their lives? No, not yet. I see. Well, it's not just an email that can change your life. There are so many things that can change your life. Yes, for me, so all right. My story with emails is an amazing one. So at the 22nd of June, I received a life-changing email, to be honest. So this email says that I made it through the pre-selections to become a Google Developer Student Club lead at my university. And my university didn't have a GDSC, so I was the founder of that in my university. And that was really big to me. That's still really big to me up until this day. And at some point, when it became official, I realized something. I realized that I have so much work to do. It was crazy. Leadership is not easy. It's not easy to start something from scratch, having a team to do something together. So, of course, there are the basics. So, we had a clear vision. Our vision is to create impact, to impact students who wants to become developers. We had few missions to do, so we wanted to do workshops. We wanted them to learn. Well, we had some goals to reach, so we had to set up a strategy to do that. Okay, so on my road to leadership, I had to start with create shared meaning. By saying creating shared meaning, we're going to be talking about that in details more, but creating shared meanings is one of the first things that all leaders should do. And then it went down to emotional intelligence. Of course, emotional intelligence is so important when you're dealing with human beings. And then you have integrity, because integrity is the one component that creates trust. And when you're working with people, you need to create a sense of trust between you and them. And then, of course, the adaptive capacity is one of the main criteria that you need in general. So leadership, to an extent, is just becoming a fully integrated human being. So what are the qualities that leaders should have or require? What do you think are the qualities that a leader should acquire? I'd like to ask you. That's one of the questions that I spent some time answering at the start of all of this. So, what are the qualities that leaders should acquire? Well, if leadership is all about becoming a fully integrated human being, the qualities are going to be very, very diversified. It can be so many things. We already started talking about creating shared meaning, adaptive capacity, and emotional intelligence. We talked about integrity. So these are great qualities to have. I'll be going back to the chat if you had anything to add. So let's move forward. All right. So today in our presentation, we're going to be having an introduction. So the importance of leadership in our lives. It is very important. And then we're going to be moving to organizational leadership. What is organizational leadership? The leader's qualities. And I'll be giving you some appetizers to leadership. And then we're going to be talking about the 10 leadership styles. And at the end, I'll give you some hints and some legendary books that can help you a lot. So, when we talk about the importance of leadership, we can feel it through this saying by Warren Bennis. One person can live on a desert island without leadership. Two people, if they are totally compatible, could probably get along and even progress. But if there are three or more, someone has to take the lead. We find that people tend to disagree and they usually does not share the same vision. So leadership is inevitable because we are so many people and we need to do things in our lives. So what makes the difference between a group of people and a team are mainly two parameters. First, a group of people doesn't really have a team leader. And second, they don't really have the same vision. So for them to become a team, they need to have the same vision. And they need to have a team leader too. So what is organizational leadership? Organizational leadership is a management approach in which leaders help set strategic goals for the organization while motivating individuals within the group to successfully carry out assignments and service to those goals. When we talk about the foundations of organizational leadership, we see that mankind is unpredictable and our social world is not susceptible to specific rules, unlike the physical world or the science of chemistry. That is why the study of the leadership is not as exact as them. Yet we try to define it. So, because just like arts, it can be demonstrated. Because to an extent, leadership is like beauty. It is hard to define, but you know it when you see it. The only thing that matters in art can't be explained. And just like arts, leadership can be demonstrated. Alright, so we're going to be talking about a few qualities. First, leaders, they have a vision. And they can persuade others to make that vision their own. Here we talk about creating shared meaning. Leaders are influential. They plant seeds that grow over time and they make sure that they are arousing those seeds on time so that they become plants and they keep on growing. Great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Adolf Hitler, they marked history because they created shared meaning. And we can really see that because so many people believe in what they believe in. That's how they empower their status. Because when you create shared meaning, you create a greater meaning to follow in you. When you do that, you're going to become a leader of something. Moving on to the second point, it's emotional intelligence. So leaders, they understand the feelings of others and of their own, starting with their feelings, of course. And they can persuade others to give them comfort around them. It can be very, very, very helpful to be emotionally intelligent when you're dealing with people because that's how you actually can communicate with them efficiently. So, Salvay and Mayer defined the emotional intelligence through this saying. They said that emotional intelligence is a type of social intelligence that involves the ability to monitor one's own and others' emotions, to discriminate among them, and to use this information to guide one's thinking and actions. All right, third component of leadership is integrity, because integrity creates trust. Having integrity means that you live in accordance to the deepest values, to your deepest values. You're honest with everyone and you always keep your word. And that's how you make people trust you. Moving up. So there is a saying by Lao Tzu that says water is fluid, soft, and yielding, but water will wear away rocks, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft, and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. This is another paradox. This is what is soft is strong. So here we talk about adaptive capacity. It is one of the key components of leadership because there are traditional methods of taking actions and there are the not so traditional ways. We'd rather take the second one, of course, because leaders, they must assess the results of their actions, correct their course of actions, and quickly act again. And that's how they become more adaptive. And adaptive capacity will give the leaders the ability to reinvent themselves over and over. That's what makes it really, really important. Because leaders always keep on moving and always keep on reinventing themselves. They can never stop. And four, we're going to be talking about communication. Communication is very important. Communication is mainly speaking the language of others and getting your message through to them. There are five components in the communication model. First, you need to have a sender and a receiver. And if you don't have a sender or a receiver, there's not going to be a communication. Second, we're going to need a medium. Let's say there are two people. Okay, they need to be in a meeting or they have to be face to face or something for them to communicate. Then, of course, the contextual factors, the body language, the timing, the environment. If you choose the environment wrong, it can affect the communication a lot. And you're going to need a message, of course, because you're going to communicate. So, what is communication without a message? And after all of that, communication can always go wrong. I mean, you can say something, but people will get you differently or not really listen to you. You might think that they actually heard you, but they didn't. That's why the fifth component is very, very important. It gives you insight if your message got to them or not. It's getting feedback from the receiver. So, next up, Warren Bennett says, no matter how cruel the teasing, they become more optimistic and more open to experience. Here we talk about contagious optimism. So, optimism is a mental attitude characterized by hope and confidence in success and positive future. Optimism is just like enthusiasm, it is contagious. So, they need to be contagiously optimism to to make other people around them optimistic too, because we need to be all optimistic together. And next up, leaders never give up. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. By Dale Carnegie. And there is another saying that says that most life's failures were people who gave up when they didn't realize how close they were to success. So you should never give up on something that you really want to do. And leaders' qualities, in conclusion, we can find so many things, the qualities that leaders should acquire. Yeah, in conclusion, we find creating shared meaning, being influential, having integrity, having good emotional intelligence, having adaptive capacity, and having good communication skills, having contagious optimism, and never giving up. So I hope that was helpful. Next up, we're moving to appetizers for leadership. We are going to be talking about two appetizers. The first appetizer is know yourself. A leader knows their strengths and weaknesses and works their way up to improve them. So leaders does not lie to themselves. First things first, like don't lie to yourself. You should know yourself and you should accept that and work your way up. They are aware of their mistakes as well as their positions, and they do deal with them directly. And leaders should be honest with themselves. That you can do that through so many methods, of course. One of them that I really found interesting was codify your thoughts. That's a way to learn a lot about yourself. It helps to speak or write your thoughts. Writing is the most profound way of codifying your thoughts, the best way of learning from yourself, who you are and what you believe. To become a leader, then you must become yourself, become the maker of your own life. No one can teach you how to become yourself and to express yourself, except for yourself. So you're going to be your own teacher here. You're going to tutor yourself. And we surely need mentorship for that, but you're your first mentor. Keep that in mind. Okay, there are 4 lessons for self-knowledge. They were concluded by Warren Bennett. You are your own best teacher. Assume your responsibility for your mistakes and blame no one, please. You have a limitless capacity for learning, and reflecting on your experience gives you the true understanding. Warren Bennett says leaders begin then by backing themselves up, inspiring themselves, trusting themselves, and ultimately inspiring others by being trustworthy. And so it all starts with you. Our second appetizer for tonight is know the word. There are 3 ways to know the word better that were concluded by Warren Bennett. First way, fill in the gaps. Feeding your creativity starts with getting lost in the time doing something that makes you feel your roots being revived. He incited leaders He incited leaders to find the pleasure in learning every single day. So just fill in the gaps. Don't let gaps be there. Just always fill them in with something useful. There is something that's called the broadening experience. It's all about traveling. So it says that traveling is a kind of learning. And of course, the third point and way to get to know the world better is through friends and mentors. We do need friends and mentors who can see things in us that we did not know were there. As for the asking yourself, you can. There is another method that I'd like to share with you. It's um, it's more like a sequence of questions that you ask yourself, like what really happened, why did it happen, what did it mean to me. This is how we get knowledge of the things we knew but have forgotten. Once you understand what is going on inside of you, you will know what to do. So the 10 leadership styles. Okay, so we found 10 leadership styles. There are more, but these are the most common ones. There is situational, laissez-faire, democratic, transformal, transactional, charismatic, cross-cultural, servant, autocratic, and bureaucratic. I'm going to be talking specifically about 5 of those. First one is laissez-faire, let it be. In this type of leadership, the leader is very open-minded. They leave decisions to the team members. They let them work on their own pace, and they motivate them. They are trusting and communicative, and these leaders are needed when your team is composed of experts and developers. So the leader just manages the big picture here. We could really need that type of leadership if you're working with experts, of course. Okay, next type democratic. It is also known as participative. In this type of leadership, the team does work collaboratively. The tasks can be delegated. Decisions are taken collectively, and this is participative leadership, where the team is empowered and cultivated by the leader. This is the best way to discover the talents of the team members. Here, the team leader is supportive, accountable, and actively engaged. We need this type of leaders when we have a team of very, very skilled people. And we're going to be talking now about autocratic. Autocratic has complete power. In this type of leadership, we find that the leader is the one and only that makes the decisions. Everything goes through him. They are the ones in charge. They can take feedback, yet they will decide according to their personal discretion. These leaders are confident, decisive, and disciplined. We do need this type of leaders in societies where discipline is needed. So you see, we have something for everyone here. Transformal leadership. This style of leadership, this leader wants to transform the existing ideas, procedures, and culture of the team members to improve the organization, seeking better ways to get the work done, aiming for challenging the old ways, because we don't like old ways. We'd like to always challenge people so we can discover new things and transform the old things into better things. So, seeking better ways to get the work done, aiming for challenging the old ways to improve the efficiency and the performance. They simply push you outside your limits and give you challenges to work on. These leaders do believe in the lean management and the innovation of it. They are motivating and empathetic. They are needed in organizations where innovation is needed. And transactional leadership. This type of leadership is almost the exact opposite of transformal leadership. These leaders provide order, strict hierarchy, and structure. Everything is well defined. The leaders always makes sure that every team member plays their role effectively and correctly. This type of leaders is very focused and efficient. They are needed where complex organizations are needed. And if your company needs a leader who will run a military like system. So, in conclusion, to all of this, what is organizational leadership? It's the ability to lead group of individuals towards fulfilling an organization's mission. It encompasses the following skills. First, understanding an organization's mission, creating a strategic plan in line with that mission, implementing goals, and holding teams accountable for accomplishing these two goals within an established timeline and in alignment with the strategic plan. Foreseeing possible challenges in the road ahead. Risk management. They're really good managers. Organizational leadership is a managemental approach. So, and refines it. Innovation, innovating to meet those challenges, pivoting effectively as circumstances change, adaptive capacity, remaining calm amidst uncertainty, and communicating effectively. Inspiring groups of people, individuals, to do their best and work towards a unified purpose, addressing the corners of internal stakeholders and the community at large, doing all of the above, all of it, with an eye on inclusivity, integrity, and authenticity. So, I hope you liked it. I'll give you now some hints. I'll give you some legendary books that I really, really advise you to read, but not just to read and to practice. So I want you to read On Becoming a Leader by Warren Bennis, because this book contains a lot of experience. The man, Warren Bennis, he made so much research for him to write that book. And he did write it all in his book. It's really amazing. Then I want you to read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's one bestseller book. It is amazing. It teaches you a lot about emotional intelligence. So it is super practical too. So it gives you tips and what to do. It gives you bullet points and it gives you so many examples. I advise you to read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. This type of books teaches you what to prioritize and how to be a good manager, let's say, and how to stop worrying and start living. Actually, these kinds of books can teach you a lot about how to be optimistic in a right stand. So it is really amazing. And I advise you to read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This book is for military. So at first it was for military, and then they made other versions of it for other fields, and it's amazing. It teaches you how to be strategic. Teaches you how to forecast plans and what to do, what not to do when you're planning. It is amazing. It's one of the best 100 top 100 books that should be there for the humanity. So it is very important. Yeah. Lastly, I'd like to advise you to read The Agile Handbook by Emerson Tamer, because if we're going to be talking about good organizations, we're going to be talking about management approaches. Management, you're gonna find so many things in management approaches, but there are so many that fall under the umbrella of agile, because agile is a mindset, and it's a lovely mindset. It's a mindset that cares about the team a lot and that cares about your user a lot. It's just amazing. I really advise you to read more about it. It has 4 values and 12 principles that are amazing to discover. We'll be giving you the names of the books in the chat. And I wonder if you have any questions so far. So, thank you everyone for your presence tonight. If you had any questions, you can always contact me anytime through Facebook, LinkedIn. Well, I'm not so active on WhatsApp, but I will open it at some point. And I'm always active on my email. So you can always give me an email. I'll answer you in some time. Thank you and good night, everyone.